what is your approach in the studio?
Mm-hmm.
Are you a step first person? Are you a sort of try to get in the head of the choreographer person? If it's not a character, do you like to try to build a character first, and then where's your start?
Well, I am kind of slow in the studio. I go day by day, try to build on what the choreographer's steps, what they want to do, and then incorporate those steps into my body, into a way that they like them, because they're never going to be exactly what the choreographer wants.
Right.
Because I'm kind of weird. Which I think a lot of the choreographers like, that I kind of have a different version of what they envision. So building on the sculpting of what they want and the musicality of what they want, and then I listen to the music a lot away from the studio, and then I sort of start to find images in the sculptures that they've given my body to do, and then the timing that they've given it, and I start to feel, ooh, that feels really good, that part, I like that part, and that part still, I'm not quite getting that part. And this part, oh, it's working, flowing, and I really like the way it flows into that part.
Right.
So I start to develop feelings for the moments, and then with those feelings, they start to create a picture for me.
Right.
Whether it's an abstract picture or coloring, I just start getting images start to appear in my mind.
Right.
About the piece, and that doesn't stop.
That's your subtext. That's your subtext.
And then it just builds on, and it just builds, hopefully by the time we premiere the piece, I have a pretty good idea. And a lot of times that idea will develop itself in the premiere. Like a full, like the little bud, rehearsal, orchestra rehearsal, start to feel it more. And the performance, it's there, but then every season it comes back.
And it blossoms further.
And then maybe another vine starts going.
Right.
And it just, I keep building new, it's it doesn't end.
That
new
is
images.
delicious.
Yeah,
That's
new
delicious.
images and new thoughts and new understandings of where it is. And I think choreographers like that.
Okay, so moment to moment, you have these sort of running subtext. When you are performing, does, say for instance, if it's a color or a shape, does that run through, or is it just in there?
Runs through my head. I've just been doing Midsummer Night's Dream, the divertissement pas de deux, which is sort of, I've done it for a long time, probably 15 years or so. And, every 2 years we sort of do it. So I haven't done it for probably 2 years. But going back into it, I have to, remind myself what the steps are, and then those images will stop.
They'll pop.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember.
And so it's a sense memory sort of thing. Told you she was an actor.
And I remember, I think, oh, this part, this is so silly. And I told one of the young girls that's learning it, she just started learning the steps, and she was looking down on this part, and I was like, you can look down if you want, I don't mind. I mean, and the ballet mistress obviously doesn't mind, but just to tell you, I just want to tell you what I think of here. Take it or leave it. I think of reaching for a star, pulling it out of the sky. She was like, oh, I like that. And I'm like, you can do it or not, but I like, it's a Midsummer Night's Dream, It's like, and that it's like, I get pulled away and reach forward, and it's like, and then I go, it's just like,
and
I love that. I just love the images.
But that is what
I love having images in my head.
Yeah. And
it's so they're silly, but
no, because what it is that people feel we're not even looking at steps, we're feeling energy. So the energy behind
I have an
that
impulse.
thought, that thing,
there's
is
a
what
reason
you're
I'm
feeling.
doing that. Yeah.
I mean, different from someone who's just reaching. You go like, okay, she reached, and the difference between why you feel something when somebody is reaching in a certain way is because there's an energy behind it. There's an intent
and I see the blue purple sky, and it's like silver.
Yes!
It's like I have like it's like it's palpable. It's
Were
not,
you always that way with that sort of imagination when you were coming up? Maybe not like young, but you know, like as you started to really grasp the technique and be able to quote unquote dance. Do you know what I mean? Did you have that sort of imagination?
It was way smaller.
Yeah, but it was
there.
Did you play those sorts of games in your head?
I remember a ballet master telling me when I was learning a lot of the Balanchine rep, a lot of the abstract leotard ballets, which I learned as a young core soloist dancer. A dancer, Bart Cook, taught me these ballets. And he used to give me tons of images. And he was a real artist. He made stained glass, and like he was one of my favorite dancers, but he was also an artist. Artisan. He made things. And he was like, Wendy, this is like, you know, you have a scorpion tail when you're in this position. He would just ignite that imagery in my head.
Right.
And it helped me. And it helped me shape step, and then I would start to create something with the steps. So
that might have been the genesis of that.
That started it.
Because I always tell my students, I was like, your internal landscape of the artists.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell them they're barren, because it's like, you guys, you have to read, you have to go and see art, you have to walk around the city, you have to watch people, you have to be able to reference.
You have to cultivate your imagination
in order to bring it out of your body. You see, this is why I do this.
That's what I just did a talk for the advanced kids at SAB before their workshop. And they had a little hour-long thing where they could ask me questions and I could talk. And the first thing I said to them was, you know, if you get a whiff of your imagination going, if you feel something blossom in your head when you hear a chord or feel a movement or them together, it ignites something in your head, go with it. I was like, just light that part up in yourself, because you can't learn that. You have to do that for yourself. And if you can get it started, or somebody can help you start that.
And you feel so vulnerable because you think you're crazy.
You think you're a little nuts, but
you are.
Yeah.
That's the good stuff.
No, you have to be.
You have to be a little crazy.
You have to be a little crazy. Healthy crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of it. That's why you don't do a 9 to 5.
It's artistry.
It's because you get to play all day long, essentially. You know, and I think that I worry about this generation because everything is so already visualized for you that you don't have to. You know, like, remember we had books that we read, we had to imagine.
Yeah.
One of my favorite books was James and the Giant Peach.
Oh, yeah.
And I just, because, you know, the centipede and the peach rolling down the, and so now there's just a movie. So why do I have to even envision it?
Exactly.
Like, Harry Potter would have been great if they never made the movies and everybody had their own version of Harry Potter.
It's true. It's true.
And so that's what makes me a little nervous, is that internally, maybe this generation has a harder way to go to
access it.
Yeah.
But if you go and see those movies,
use it.
Yeah. Really, like, put it in there, and, you know, think about those colors and what they mean to you, and how looking at that color tastes good, you know, and how all those
things fit
aesthetically, how aesthetically things do things to your body. How do your body reacts to beauty? How your body reacts to beauty.
Sometimes we don't feel nowadays. Like, it's, you know, we get further and further away from interaction and feeling that I think it's a little harder for them. It makes, I think you have to be vulnerable to do that, because somebody might go like, well, I always tell my students, the crazy girl in class, remember you had the crazy girl that was always like this?
Yeah.
And you were like, oh my God, she's so not.
She was the one,
but she was the one that got the job.
Yeah,
she was the one, and you go like, you have to be willing to be her.
Yeah, and when I teach, which is very rare, I'm always like, you guys got to get a little crazy on me. I always say that. I'm like, I want to see it as big as you can possibly do it, because it's still not going to be big enough.
Right.
You know, you got to move as more than you possibly think you can, because that's not even going to be enough.
Right. Do you like to teach?
I just haven't taught
a lot
regularly.
Yeah.
But when I do, I mean, I love sharing things with people, and I love working with people. Yeah, I just don't.
You're
I'm not
probably
usually
an amazing coach.
Mhm.
You probably really love to coach.
Maybe. If the steps are already there, it's always helpful.
But you know what I mean?
I like to choreograph.
No, but you know what I mean? Like when, because you the ballets that you know and that you have your subtext, you would probably like sharing, possibly. You know what I mean? Like the idea of like, because you can see it, you want to dig it out. You know?
Yeah. It did help a young company core girl learn one of my roles for a show. I think it was last year, and that was so fun because she's kind of reserved and quiet and very young and very beautiful, and to see her finally go out there and do this pas de deux from the beginning to the end. Oh my God! It was just like, yes. You know, she did so much work on her own.
Yeah.
And just like the process, it's like
You can
cultivating
appreciate
a garden. It's like, yeah, you give water, you let it go on its own.
Right, and then
you pluck some weeds out,
control.
and then you step away, and you don't look at it for a while, and then
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Okay, I had a Twitter follower ask the question, Christopher McDaniels asked, how do you stay so humble?
Humble?
After having the career that you've had and being who you are. How do you stay so humble?
Well, I mean, I know I'm not perfect. I know I'm always going to learn something. I know there's always somebody better than me. I know there's always somebody I can help. I know a lot of people don't like my dancing. I know a lot of people do like my dancing.
Right.
So I don't look at myself as better than anybody. I just look at myself as maybe having some more knowledge in certain areas, or not even more knowledge, having more experience than somebody in a certain area. But I definitely don't think I'm all that. I don't.
Well, I mean, I guess
And I don't look at myself from that direction. I look at myself more as, what can I learn?